Hello and welcome to the Survival to Success podcast. I am certain that some of you would have felt a little triggered by the topic of today's podcast, which is helping others is selfish. What I'm going to talk about today is why we need to put our needs first and fill our own cup before helping others. I'm also going to talk about the shadow reasons that we focus on helping others over ourselves and how the motivation behind that can be self-serving and what to do about it. So do you ever feel like you're constantly pouring from an empty cup, giving and giving to others, but never taking the time to replenish your own needs? If so, believe me, you're not alone. Many of us, including many of my clients, have been taught that putting others first is the right thing to do. But the truth is, in order to help others, we must first help ourselves. So my story, as many of you know, I worked as a nurse and then a nurse practitioner, which was a total of over 25 years in Western medicine. And I was also a single mom with my kids pretty much my whole adult life up until just a few short years ago. And I remember all the times where I wanted to go out. I wanted to have time to myself, like just to get away and to maybe have some fun. And I felt too guilty to send my kids to a babysitter because I thought that would cause them stress. And you know what? My fun can wait. I'll just, spend time and keep them at home. So I would put my needs for fun off to the side. And I remember just how hard I worked to be able to keep up with all the things I had on my plate. I was so concerned with making sure that my kids got valuable connection time with me. So I was working on a master's degree at the time, and so I would save all my studying time till after they went to bed, and we would have our fun, and we'd go to the park and do all kinds of fun things, and then we'd have supper, and then do the thing. Once they went to bed, then I would actually study. And quite often I was studying till after midnight, sometimes later, and then I would still get myself up at 5 a.m. to do a workout before the kids woke up. And I remember just working extremely long hours. I would constantly be missing out on sleep. I would be putting in a lot of unpaid time, and I was always going the extra mile to help others. And while that sounds really noble, and maybe I deserve a badge for that, but seriously, all of that was to my own detriment. I got tired and I got burnt out, and I gave and gave and gave, but what I didn't realize that I was able to look back on later and have hindsight was I was overgiving to make myself feel like I was really worth something, and giving to try to prove that I was a valuable person to someone. And the lesson that I learned was I clearly was not valuing myself. I was not being a valuable person to myself. So once I burned out and closed my clinic, I realized I was now completely no good to anyone. I went through a really bad time where I felt super guilty for leaving my patients without my help. I felt really sad, and I felt completely worthless. And it took me a very long time to realize that the root of the problem was that I didn't value myself. And this took quite some time to work through all of that. And some things that really helped me was that I learned how to reprogram my subconscious mind using hypnosis to turn around all those crappy beliefs that I was not good enough, and that I haven't accomplished enough yet. And also I had this fear of abandonment from a traumatic childhood. So it was a real 2x4 to the head when I realized that all of my multiple degrees, my multiple business projects, all these achievements over the years really came down to me trying to prove my worth. And believe me, I am embarrassed because I was always talking to everyone about all the things I was accomplishing and all the things I had on my plate and all the things I was accomplishing, and I'd be so excited about it and telling everyone, and then they would say to me, "Oh, wow, Diane, how do you accomplish so much?" And I'd feel as proud as a peacock, or they'd say, "Wow, you're so amazing. How can you do so many things and still be so happy and everything?" And of course, all of these accolades and things from other people really fed the emptiness I felt. And so I really was on this hamster wheel of trying to accomplish more and more and more until I couldn't. The burnout, the depression, the lack of worthiness, feeling like I was no good for nothing. And then when I was doing the work with hypnosis, the realizations I had, the deeper aha moments I had, that the motivation behind working so hard and giving and giving and giving so much to other people, the deeper issue was I was trying to prove I was worth something, not only to others, but also to myself. And so once a lot of those layers peeled off, and many of those layers were a slap to the face, I took hypnosis very seriously, and I committed to both coaching, transformational coaching, as well as regular hypnosis every day. And I completely changed at that point how I looked after myself. My workouts were no longer punishment for bad eating. I began to speak kindly to myself, and I really started to see my value just because I am a being here on this earth gives me value. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. So gradually, I lost the feeling that I had to give to be worth something. But rather, I realized that if I worked on myself and filled my cup first, then I would be a good example to my kids, I would be a good example to others, and then I would have positive energy and to be able to help others with the ulterior motive of giving without expectation. And I would be giving from a full cup. I would be giving from a person who's happy, who is energized, who's fulfilled with life and enjoying freedom. And this way, I wouldn't be doing it to prove anything. I wouldn't be doing it to try to feel worth something. Because when everything fell away and I was sitting by myself, I wouldn't feel happy about all the giving I was doing. And I'll tell you more about what I learned. So I learned these big lessons. When we neglect our own needs, it leads to burnout, exhaustion, and even resentment towards those people they were trying to help. See, this is what I mean. We have resentment. Why are people not recognizing me because I'm doing so much for them? Why are they not noticing me? Right? So we develop this resentment because deep down in the deeper layers, the motive for helping is because we're looking for recognition. We're looking to be put on a pedestal and say, wow, look, this person is such a good person. But those accolades don't need to come from anyone else. We simply need to recognize ourselves and love ourselves as a good person. So the question is, why do we do this to ourselves? And why do we prioritize others over our own well-being? And I'm going to reiterate this and say, okay, first, we put other people's needs first because it makes us feel good about ourselves. We like to believe or think of ourselves as caring and compassionate people. And by helping others, we then feel like we're making such a difference and we're being a positive influence in the world, which is great if we are doing it from the full cup. If we are happy and energized and have a full cup, we can give without expectations, give without expecting recognition. So that's what I'm talking about, is the energy behind giving to be able to be recognized, giving to show that we're worth something. Those are all selfish reasons for giving. That is not truly giving without any expectation. So think about that for a moment. It's very powerful. So another reason that we prioritize others over ourselves is because all of us are bombarded with messages about the importance of helping others. We see it on social media, in movies, on TV shows, and in ads, of course, and by things that we've been taught as a kid. And it's easy to get caught up in the idea that helping others is the most important thing we can do, because that's not true. The truth is, if we don't take care of ourselves first, we cannot be much help to anyone else. We will end up stressed, exhausted, and unable to even show up in the way that we want to. So how is that a good example for others? How is that being strength? How is that being a support to others when we're stressed, exhausted, and burnt out? So how does this apply to you, and what can we do about it? First of all, I realize that we need to recognize that our own well-being is just as important as anyone else's, and we need to give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves, even if it means saying no to others. So by constantly saying yes to everyone else, we are then saying no to ourselves. So it's important to learn the word no, to say no to others, so that you can finally say yes to yourself. The next thing is that we need to understand that helping others can still be important to us. It can still be a priority in our life, but not at the expense of our own needs. So this is where it's really important to find a balance that works for us, and then be honest with ourselves about what it is that we're really capable of. And the last thing is, we need to let go of the idea that helping others is the only way to feel good about ourselves. We can find meaning and purpose in other ways, like, for example, pursuing our passions, spending special time with our loved ones. And the key thing is that taking the time to pause, learn to love and accept and to value ourselves first, so that we can truly give without expectations, without expecting recognition, or using it as a way to fuel our ego, to make us feel like we're important and valuable. So, remember, taking care of ourselves is not selfish. It is essential. When we fill our own cup first, we then have more to give to others. And hey, who knows? By taking care of ourselves and having that full cup and being that happy, excited, energetic, fulfilled person, we will then inspire other people to do the same. why would we want to be an example of overgiving and burnout? That is not a position to be to inspire anyone. So, if you feel like in your life that you're always giving, and you even feel guilty if you're not giving, if you feel truly selfish, caring for yourself, if you feel like your needs are always last on the list and others come first, and you can't seem to change that, and if you're feeling frustrated, disappointed, or even bitter that people don't recognize everything that you do for them, and if you notice any of those things in yourself, and there's probably a few more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but especially if things seem to be going wrong and you're overgiving, and have all, especially this disappointed and bitterness that people just don't recognize how hard you're working or how much you're doing for them, then especially if deep down you don't know why you keep getting caught up in these cycles, you don't know why you continue to do this, perhaps you'll be something like me. It took for me to have coaching and hypnosis to really get to the root of the problem. So considering transformational coaching and hypnosis, just like I did, may be something for you to consider for yourself. Because I feel this is so important, I'm going to offer something that I have never offered before. I have decided to take 5 people and offer a free 30-minute connection call to dig into what it is that could be holding you back. Perhaps why is it that you keep overgiving? And if we have time, I'll do a mini evaluation of your design and your energy and briefly highlight the way that you are meant to operate in this world. And I'm only going to offer this for a very limited time, and I'm just going to offer it to 5 people. And what I will do is put the calendar link in the comments below for you if you're interested in booking that. So ultimately, remember this point. Taking care of ourselves is not selfish. When we overgive, expecting recognition, and we're giving because we need ways to feed our ego to feel that we're worth something, that is selfish. So it's important, when we fill our own cup first, we will have more to give to others. And by taking care of ourselves first, we then can help others. We have the energy to help others from a happy place, from a fulfilled place, and maybe we'll inspire other people to also transform their life and do the same. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.